99 questions about the college football season. Which team in the triangle is the most disrespected? I feel like, first of all, every team will tell you they're disrespected.
Oh, of course.
Nobody believes in you. It's you against the world. Nobody sees your potential. But which team has the legitimate best gripe? First of all, let's go one by one through the schools, through the teams, and kind of, make their argument, right? Dennis, which school should we go with first?
Let's see. We started Duke yesterday, so let's go Carolina today.
Carolina is being overshadowed. This is what I would think of if I were North Carolina. A lot of very, very good players are being overshadowed by one position. If you're Kamen Rucker, you're like, I turned down the NFL to come back and dominate on defense, and all anyone wants to talk about is there's a quarterback competition. If I'm Omari in Hampton, I'm going, listen, I ran for 1,500 yards last year and a boatload of touchdowns. Mm-hmm. I don't care who's handing me the ball. We're going to be fine. And you can go on and on. I think Copenhaver and Nesbitt at tight end are pretty darn exciting. They have Power Eccles at that off-ball linebacker spot, stepping in for Cedric Gray, has made some highlight plays. Like they have some dudes, but all anyone wants to talk about is the quarterback competition. When in actuality, if you're in North Carolina, you're going, that's disrespectful because whoever steps into the quarterback position, we're going to have a nice little setup for them, nice little incubator that we can support them while they figure it out. What school do we go next?
Let's go NC State.
NC State is a tough one here because there actually is some hype around NC State. So it's hard to be like, we're being disrespected while also like, but everyone's buzzing and they're kind of excited to see what we're going to do. What I will give you, NC State, as far as a little bit of disrespect that's being given to them, is they still don't have just the national name recognition buzz, and I think they should have a little bit of it. Things like College Football 25, the game coming out, has North Carolina, meaning UNC's defense, ranked higher than NC State's. NC State has had the better defense, has a much more proven defensive coordinator in Tony Gibson, and quite a few players coming back and played the portal pretty well.
Well, I thought NC State lost their whole defense when Peyton Wilson went to the NFL.
Not the easiest guy to replace.
Not the easiest guy to replace.
You're not like, all right, our 6'4", 235 runs a 4.4 is gone, so we'll just bring up our other 6'4", 235 runs a 4.4.
Right.
Like, that doesn't exist. But I still just think State would look at that and be like, that's pretty disrespectful. But like, what I mean by them not having like the national name pop is Clemson, like we'll use the game again. Clemson was 98th last year, 98th in the country in yards per play. They have the 9th ranked offense in college football 25 this year. 9th best, 9th highest rated. How do you go from 98th best yards per play, which is a pretty all-encompassing stat, to top 10, other than they're Clemson. Other than Trevor Lawrence used to play there. Like, that kind of just name recognition gets them so much benefit of the doubt. And even with people that are curious, they're curious about the buzz, curious about the transfers that are coming in, curious about how they're recruiting, there's still not that benefit of the doubt given to NC State that's given to some other teams. Lastly, Duke. Duke won 9 games and 8 games in the last 2 years. UNC won 9 games and 8 games in the last 2 years. There is an overwhelming feeling around the Duke football team that Elko did something special, and now that Elko's gone, it's back to Duke as normal. I would look at that as disrespectful if I were a member of the Duke football team. And there's even this weird other bit where it's like if anyone on Duke was worthy, Elko would have brought him to Texas A&M with him. Like there's this other side of that. Like when a coach leaves in the transfer portal, it's almost like if you don't enter the transfer portal, it's like, oh, you must have known you wouldn't have a bunch of options. When some just want to stay at Duke. Like I think the success they've had the last 2 years was not just a coach. Some of it was the players. And some of even the players that maybe haven't played over the last 2 years a ton bought into what was being sold at Duke and want to continue to build off of the last 2 years. And they're not really being given the opportunity. So who's being disrespected the most? I think it's Duke.
Might be.
They're making it out to be like 4 wins would be a successful season for them. And,
yeah.
And you've doubled that up in each of the last 2 years. You brought in a pretty talented quarterback out of the transfer portal. I would if there's a team that could motivate themselves by putting like blogs and newspaper clippings up around the locker room, it's Duke. Then I would say UNC because of the quarterback room and how much that's clouding everyone's image of that team. And then NC State would be the last because they do have genuine hype. And it's hard to say disrespected when you're also like everybody's dark horse. I use that a lot, right? Like you can't be a sleeper if everybody calls you a sleeper. That means you woke up.